All right, so first pod in a little while. We take a break there for about a month, but let's get back to it. There's a lot to talk about. And one topic in general that we've kind of seen as an increasing trend across all of our venues. Everyone's kind of clamoring to add memberships. And I just wanted to get your take on like why do you think venues are right now so interested in adding memberships to their businesses?
Well, from a business perspective, the consistent recurring revenue, I think, is what's super, super attractive. Every business wants to have some revenue that they know is coming in from customers that are loyal and they're going to be there. So I think from a business perspective, it's really, really great. And then from a customer perspective, I think it's part of like exclusivity and being able to get deals and being able to kind of have a go-to spot or place that they kind of know that they're going to get taken care of. I think generally service has been worse across the board in the last 5 years or so, and memberships might be a way to offset that where you know that you're going to be taken care of at an establishment. So I think it's a win-win both from the business and the customer side.
Yeah, so boiling it down, you're saying the businesses are facing a lot of economic pressure and uncertainty. And so, in order to have some consistent revenue stream, they're adding memberships so that they can at least know, hey, we're going to make X amount of money every month from having this membership program, as opposed to just relying on walk-ins, food and bev, which there really is no knowing what's going to happen month to month.
Yeah.
With memberships, you kind of have a real good idea every month what to expect. And you also have a game plan for how to grow that business and how to add to it. So it really helps have some consistency in the revenue stream. And then from a consumer standpoint, since COVID, a lot of that spontaneity on just kind of walking into a venue and discovering new places has dissipated a little bit. So having a place that you kind of are a member at, that you have a sense of community with, gives you that comfortability and ease of just kind of going to a place more regularly.
Yeah, I think everything has a member component now. I mean, here in Miami, a lot of restaurants now have become member clubs. So a lot of the different hospitality groups, whether it be sort of Mila or Casa Tua or these places that are traditionally restaurants, have now launched membership programs, and then they offer perks like being able to get reservations all the time, or they might have like a separate little room or area or events that are members only. So I think, yeah, since COVID, that definitely has been a shift in the way that the market operates because it's not as walk-in focused anymore. So everywhere has sort of launched their own little membership programs with perks for their customers so that their good customers come back and have, like you said, a sense of community and a place to kind of hang out. So we've seen that across the board. We've seen it in restaurants. We're now seeing it in our industry in family entertainment and activity centers. So everywhere is sort of trying to develop some sort of membership program to get some consistent revenue, but also to attract their best and most loyal customers more often. So it's another way of just separating your best customers from people who might not spend as much when they're in the venue.
Yeah, I think there's two groups of people. There are people who maybe will come a couple times in their lifetime, and then you have core regulars who are enthusiasts about the activity that you offer and want to have access at all times and want some specific perks. So you have, for example, golf simulator venues. You have somebody who just wants to come maybe for a birthday party or for a fun outing, or you have the guy who's trying to perfect his swing and he wants a membership program so he can go in there at any hour of the day and access the facility to be able to practice, right? So you kind of have these two groups of people, and what the membership programs are doing is catering towards that group that is really loyal and is trying to be more consistent and show up and kind of perfect their activity or craft or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, and it's kind of like the Netflix model, right? you pay and then you kind of have access just to streaming activities. So you can pay the venue and then you kind of come in and you can know that you're going to have on demand entertainment, on demand fun whenever you need it.
Right. The thought of going into a blockbuster and just grabbing one movie now doesn't really work. So you want to have the optionality to go there when you want and to have the different perks and offerings.
Yeah, I feel like the consumer mindset is like that. It's like everything is on demand and everything's like unlimited, where you can kind of, you can pay and then you can have access to things. So that's probably why we're seeing such a rise of it. So do we want to talk about maybe what makes a good program? Maybe how people can set themselves apart in their membership programs, or how do you kind of avoid maybe membership fatigue as membership programs are on the rise?
Yeah, I like that direction. So yeah, I guess what makes a great membership program? We could start there.
I think let's start with knowing that you're going to get great service and knowing that the establishment is going to know who you are and be able to tailor to your preferences. So,
So VIP level treatment.
yeah, VIP level treatment where you know that they know what you like and you have some preferences on file and you kind of get treated with a certain level of service, and the place knows what you like and your preferences, and you kind of don't need to start from square one every time that you go in. So they know you, they can treat you right, they can take care of you. I think that's a big benefit from the consumer. So I would say that's probably step one in developing a really good membership program, is knowing your guests, your members, knowing what they like, and then being able to treat them to those things.
Well, just taking one step back from there before that, I think there was kind of fleshing out the offering, right? So just kind of figuring out exactly what you're going to offer to your guests, so that when they come, they have the option to choose, what level they want to purchase.
Okay, yeah, let's start there. So I think the key word there is maybe is like access. I mean, sometimes it's so
Right.
hard to get reservations now.
Yeah, it's like a tiered offering, right? Because not everybody is going to want your full-fledged perks. Maybe somebody wants just some benefits like early access or whatever it is, and then somebody wants the unlimited. So having different plans that cater to different audiences will help fill that gap on your customers and knowing what plan they want to purchase.
Right. So, yeah, I think probably the first one, like we were just talking about, is if you're a member of that sort of general plan, you know that you're going to be able to get a booking when you want to get one, and you're not sort of competing with the general public
Yeah.
on finding space. At least you know that you can kind of get your time and get your space.
Yeah,
When
goes back to that restaurant example you were giving. Like, if you're trying to get a reservation at Carbone in Miami, good luck. But if you're a member of their loyalty program, then you have a much higher chance at that,
yeah,
right? So
totally.
the same thing with these activity centers now is that maybe your prime time offerings or times during the day or something like that can be geared towards members where they could come book without large crowds.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say access is sort of one of the perks and one of the offers to the members, is making sure
Yeah.
that the
So
members have access when they need it, and they can get bookings at sort of those peak times and things like that.
yeah, so you have the offerings, then you have inside the offerings the perks, right? And then the perks could be, you know, early access, like we talked about, unlimited play, discounts to food and beverage, joining exclusive leagues, priority booking at certain hours of the day. All these things are perks that you could tie into your membership program to get people incentivized to purchase
Yeah.
a plan.
Merch is another good one. So yeah, I think on those perks, yeah, you want to first ensure access. The second thing is you want to have some sort of either discount or unlimited gameplay for some activity or some offer within the space, so that they have a guarantee to get in and do something fun. I would say those are sort of the core components. Then beyond that, you mentioned food and beverage. I think it's super important to tie in food and beverage to the offering, whether it's discounts across the board on food and beverage or a particular set of free items that they get each time they come in. Something like that is a really good starting point. So you get your access, you get discounted or some sort of gameplay, and then you get discounted or some sort of food and beverage. And I would say that sort of makes up the core offering for what somebody gets every time they come in the establishment, because you want to incentivize your members to come in as much as possible, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, just riffing on that, I think the way that you can maybe really accelerate it is having some sort of a component for that member to bring a guest or multiple guests. Now, they might not necessarily need the same perks or level of access, and this we can kind of go back and forth on what's the best way to set it up. But again, you want to multiply the people who are coming in, and so if there's some incentive to bring a friend or family or something like that, then it really makes sense, because now they're doubly incentivized to come in and bring more people who are going to have fun and spend more.
Absolutely. And if you're confident in your product, once you bring a friend to that venue, then that just causes a trickle effect. The next friend's then going to want to sign up for the membership. Hey, this is so cool. They're going to tell a friend, and you have this domino effect there, where now you're bringing in a whole new group of people consistently.
Yep, yep. So that might tie into sort of how should you figure out how many plans to have or what plans to have, because a lot of our venues and our customers, they might have a lot of different activities. Should they have a plan for everything, or should they try and kind of streamline and maybe just have a couple of different options without having overkill?
Yeah, I don't think there is a right or wrong. I think for somebody who's kind of on the sidelines right now thinking about a membership program, the easiest way to get started would to be just to start with maybe one offering or one plan or something very basic, just to test it out and see how people respond to it. And I'm sure as the business owners, they have a lot more insight into what your guests actually want, what they're willing to pay extra for. And you've heard the feedback as far as the different demands of your clientele. So it's just a matter of taking all those asks and requests and turning them into an offering. Turn that into an offering that your guests could then go and purchase. Uh, as they're describing, they're willing to pay more for that, and so just give them the option to buy it and see if people will.
Okay. Any thoughts on monthly versus annual versus quarterly?
I think if you're just starting out with a membership plan, maybe monthly is an easier way to incentivize people that have a little less risk. But if you have a very loyal base of people who are coming to your business, then an annual plan is a no brainer as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe testing those two options could be a good way to start. If you can sell the annuals, I think it's great, and maybe you throw in a couple more perks or more discounts for somebody who goes annual versus monthly. I think that those are good options to kind of test and see where you can sell the most.
So we recently launched memberships. It's been about 6 months now since we've launched memberships on Rex. What have you seen as far as the customers who are using memberships? How are they kind of thinking through it and offering perks and advantages?
I'm seeing family plans have a lot of success, especially for venues that are good for all ages, or like a family day for members. So members can bring their family or friends maybe on Sunday or something like that, and then they get the perks. So the plans where, like I mentioned earlier, where it incentivizes the member to bring in other people do really well, because it multiplies sort of the effect. A lot of unlimited play plans do pretty well, where the customer knows that if they pay for this sort of membership, they're going to be able to just have gameplay across the board in a couple different categories. That works really well too. And then what we've seen from a lot of the customers who've launched stuff like that is they're actually seeing an increase in food and beverage sales when those members do come in to kind of get their gameplay perks.
Yeah, that's awesome. One other perk that I've noticed a lot of venues using is early access, so letting your members book before the general public.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. Let's say you open up bookings, a week before for the general public. Maybe the members have an extra week, so 2 weeks before they can start to book things. Or another one that we see is, especially in the golf space, that's pretty popular. If like a driving range or a simulator can usually be booked for like 2 hours by the general public, members might be able to book it for 3 hours, right? And they really want to, spend more time there and perfect their swing or something like that. Members have now access to be able to stay for an hour or two longer than the general public.
Cool. And how do you see like an integration like Rex working with memberships? What needs to happen there in order for it to be a seamless integration for somebody to offer a plan in the physical world and for it to translate in the digital world?
Yeah, good question. I think step one, like we just talked about, nail the offer, understand sort of what the perks are going to be, and then you now build it into the platform and make it as easy as possible to sell. So on the Rex platform, you're going to be able to sort of highlight the membership plans that you have, make it really easy for people to go ahead and purchase that, see the benefits, and then redeem their benefits and perks automatically. So you want to take as much of the work out of your hands as possible, all the manual work. The member should be able to buy, redeem automatically, update their membership, credit card payment, all very easily. And then when it comes to on-premise, we've sort of made it really easy to sell memberships in person, which I think is another really great way. So some people will buy online, but now that you have people in your space, I think it's a really good time to sell the membership. So at the host stand, if you want to create some sort of an offer on our end, we've made it really easy for you to, swipe a credit card and take a payment, and then that member becomes a recurring paying member. So if you can sort of have some sort of offer there or benefit for the guest to convert into a member when they're on premise, I actually think that's the best time and highest likelihood to convert and get more members.
Yeah, you want to ride the excitement of their visit and their time at your venue to then come in with that final pitch of, hey, you can also add a membership plan so you can experience this fun, this excitement on a more consistent basis. And while they're on that high, you sell them on a membership plan. And that will really incentivize them to come back once they're on the plan.
Exactly. And then that leads to the final part, which is you got to stay in touch with them. Like we talked about at the beginning, there are a lot of places that have membership plans and programs now. So you want to make sure that you stay top of mind. You want to make sure you're constantly delivering value to your members, reminding them what their benefits are. If you have special events for members, if you have freebies or merch, just constantly communicating that with your members, whether it be by text message or email, letting them know to come in. These are the benefits. This is the added benefit for this month. So you got to constantly re-engage to get them to come back. So that third piece is super important as well.
Totally agree. So kind of as a last ditch, let's just say there's somebody who's on the fence right now. They're thinking about putting a membership plan into effect in their business. What are reiterate? What are some like last ditch points that you would kind of drive home to sell somebody who's thinking about this?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to lose. Launch the membership program. I think a lot of it has to do with maybe hesitation in the beginning. Will people buy? Will they not buy? Worst case, you have a couple of members for a year, or you refund them if not enough people buy. That's the worst case scenario. You give them some free things, and you refund their membership if you don't find that the program was a success. So I would say there's very little to lose and a lot to gain from trying memberships. So come up with your plan, what you want to create as the offer, whether it be monthly, annual, what sort of benefits they get. Develop that program, and then launch it out. Launch it out in two ways. Launch it out online through your email marketing channels and through your web page, and then train your staff on promoting it on premise. Everybody who's already in the venue should get that offer to become a member. So run that, I would say, for at least a month to see what sort of demand that you get, and hopefully that first phase has been a success, and you can prove to yourself that this is going to be a successful new channel, and then now double down on delivering an amazing experience to those members, making sure that their preferences and their likes are tailored to, that they get great service, and then finally connect the dots by re-engaging them, asking them to bring their friends and family, or asking, giving other benefits or perks for them to invite their friends and family, to sort of tie everything together and add like a viral component to it. So I think that's what I would say to somebody who wants to think about getting started in memberships.
Yeah, don't underestimate the fact that you probably have a very loyal fan base who is willing to purchase this plan. So, like you said, you won't know who's going to buy it until you actually allow people to buy it. So that's awesome that people can purchase that now. So yeah, you're just a few clicks away from turning casual visitors into loyal super fans, unlocking reliable month after month revenue, and elevating your guest experience like never before. So those are like three driving points that I would say adding a membership plan will allow you to do.
Yeah, and like you said, don't underestimate it. This could be a big channel. This could be a really big channel.
Um, Real quick, do you want to just pull up the membership page and maybe we could show people kind of what that flow looks like for somebody who wants to put up a membership plan and allow people to purchase it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Give me one moment. So we can show maybe a sample membership page of one of our clients. All right, so here's Kraken. They've got three different membership programs, and they do a really good job with their offerings. So they've got three different plans here. Two of them are activity based, so you got your pickleball membership and then your skating membership, and then you've got a family skating membership. So we talked about this, the benefits of getting the whole crew in the venue, making it a family affair. And so it's very simple, three options. They've opted to go only monthly instead of annual, so they probably tested this out and found that monthly is their sweet spot. And then when you're on the booking page, you'll be able to, let's go here, you'll be able to see which ones are members only. So this members unlimited pickleball with Cabana, you got to be a member to do that. So the Rex page makes it really easy to see what you need to be a member to book. Now if you're a customer who's not a member, you might be interested in this and you might click member sign in, and you'll be able to sign in if you're a member. If you're not, you'll be able to book a membership right there on the page, and then you'll get your perks automatically once you make that booking. So I think they do a really good job of organizing their member offering alongside sort of the general public bookings.
Yeah, this was a really good example. Very simple offering, just three options, all monthly. Doesn't give you too much analysis paralysis. You just kind of whatever is geared towards you, you're willing to purchase.
Yep, exactly.
So, anything else on memberships that you wanted to drive home before we hop off?
I think we did a good job covering it. I think, like you said, it's definitely worth a shot. Memberships could be a really important channel to drive revenue and kind of engage more with your best customers, your most loyal customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're a venue that's kind of on the fence and you're thinking about memberships, if you're listening to this, this is your sign to just jump in and explore the different options there for memberships.
Yep, totally. Anything else you want to cover before we hop off?
I think that was great. Good pod after some time off. So excited to get this out there and get people. What's that?
We'll try and keep it more consistent.
Yeah, we'll do it again next week.
Cool.
All right, brother.
All right, Jay. We'll chat soon.
Talk to you. Bye.
Later.